It's the Legend of Zelda, and it's really...
Dun, 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 dun. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Walkthrough is one of the most unique experiences I've ever had with a video game. I've never had such a love-hate relationship with the game before, and it's such an astounding feeling for me. The game has pissed me off to no end, and yet I found myself continuously coming back to it no matter what. It's kind of weird. I've tried playing many Zelda games in the past, and have disliked pretty much all of them. It really disappointed me, because I kept expecting myself to like them just because everyone else did. Ocarina of Time is the best game ever, isn't it? So why aren't I having any fun? Well, despite how much Skyward Sword disappointed me, against my better judgment, I decided to grab Breath of the Wild. I mean, at one game of the year, it better be good. It took me a while due to how freaking slow the game began, but I found myself so immersed in this game, despite how many things I quickly grew to hate about it. Something about Breath of the Wild was just so compelling. I can't quite explain it, but the game knew how to feed you just enough awesomeness to keep you coming back for more. I couldn't put it down, even though the game frustrated me more than most other games ever had. I'm talking like Bloodborne levels of frustration. There are so many mechanics in this game that I despise with a burning passion. I'm not really a fan of most of the things within Breath of the Wild, mainly the survival mechanics. It always irked me having breakable weapons, having to eat to stay alive, manage your inventory space. It never felt fun, instead like a chore. In Breath of the Wild, however, I quickly grew to enjoy it. The breakable weapons was something I initially hated with a burning passion, because every weapon is made out of tissue paper, but after a while I realized how much variety it added to the gameplay. I was never short on weapons, as the game doesn't hide them from you, but it meant that you were never reliant on one sword. I hated having to look for food just to heal, but after a while, one of my favorite parts of the game was cooking. It's just so satisfying. Mechanics that I usually hated became actually enjoyable in this game. Not all of them though. Fuck the stamina bar. I hate this thing so much I can't even put it into words. I don't care if it's supposed to add variety to the gameplay. If I fall off one more goddamn clip, as I previously said, Breath of the Wild constantly kicks you while you're down. Nothing is ever as simple as going from point A to point B. You have to do a million things during that time, and then you still can't get to point B. Take the Master Sword at the end of the game, for example, which you can't pull out unless you have 13 hearts. So I went all the way through the Lost Woods, only to find out I didn't have enough hearts. I then did the Korok trials, which took forever because of this stupid piece of shit. Hey, I got rewarded with some food that provides me with temporary hearts. Surely that's what I'm supposed to do. Cook them, eat them, let's do no, of course not. Game of the year. So then you have to go across the entire map searching for shrines, of which you need to complete 4 to get just 1 heart, and only then can you pull the sword. This took absolutely forever, and the game gave you no clue throughout the entire journey that you were supposed to be prioritizing hearts. I felt like the game was just like, haha, you idiot, you can't beat the game just yet. Go back and complete all these bullshit puzzles just to beat Ganon, haha. Speaking of puzzles, I absolutely despise them in games. Problem solving is not my strong suit, and games like Uncharted were really negatively affected by the puzzles for me. Now, I know Zelda's puzzles were a staple of the series. I've had to deal with them before in previous games, and I've always hated them. In Breath of the Wild, I did my absolute best to work them out without using a walkthrough, and admittedly, I got through about half of the game without using a single one. It took a while, but the game did make you feel like a genius for finally working it out. However, the difficulty spike between the shrines is ridiculous. In one, all you have to do is burn a wall down, and you're done. In another, you have to complete a series of complicated circuit directing, and the only way to complete it is to drop and use your weapons as conduits, something the game never tells you, by the way. As the game went on and the shrine puzzles became more and more difficult, I found myself just giving up. I never enjoyed the puzzles, and they nearly ruined the game for me considering how big a part they played. By the end of it, I just gave up and walked through every puzzle from there on, including the aforementioned late game shrine hunt. I hate walkthroughs and feel they take away from the satisfying feeling of beating a game yourself. But I hated the puzzles in this game so much that I had to ruin the game for myself by constantly cheating, and it really did take away from my enjoyment. 1 minute you're like, whoa, this is amazing, this is the best game ever! And then the next you're like, ugh! I don't know if this is just me, but some of the puzzles are just bullshit. How the hell was I supposed to know to follow the sparks of a torch? Are you... what? Also, whoever came up with the idea of putting weather effects in this game can go burn in the depths of hell. The story was reasonably basic, but I found myself caring for the characters in it. Especially Sidon, who's my new waifu. Breath of the Wild truly does feel like a quest, and the game is long and tiring. It's an adventure. You can feel yourself improving as the game goes on, and despite the constant setbacks and frustrating as hell segments, Breath of the Wild has some truly spectacular moments that make all those crappy ones worth it. I admit, I usually like my games pretty easy. But Breath of the Wild has just the right amount of challenge that makes you feel invincible when you conquer it. But the side quests. What the hell is up with the side quests? I don't care. Oh no, that's okay. I'll go get some crickets for you. It's not like I'm the hero of Hyrule or anything who's trying to save the goddamn world. The combat was awesome, though very difficult, with every battle being a potential threat no matter what point you were in the game. That feeling of finally triumphing over a difficult or completely bullshit boss or enemy is like no other game. And though it was certainly challenging and took me at least 300 attempts, the final battle with Ganon was certainly amazing. Even though you can't get the true ending unless you get all the memories, haha, screw you. Beating that Lionel for the first time is one of the best damn feelings in the entire world. That feeling of triumph is one of the things that kept me interested in Breath of the Wild from start until finish. And that's what Breath of the Wild is. It's a game of triumph and challenge. There were certain sections where I had a lot of fun with it, and certain sections where I wanted to die. I miss my family. But overall, it was an unforgettable experience. Is Breath of the Wild a good and well-made game? Yes. Is it a fun game? And of course, the game is gorgeous, even though it still lags. I hate you, Nintendo. Overall, I'd give the Wand of Gamelon 3.5 walkthroughs out of 5. Fuck the stamina bar.